Tonight, Senator Herman Gill Francis says he is eager to serve Beaufort South and says if selected by the UWP to contest the seat, he wants a clean fight with incumbent MP Dr. Kenny Anthony. Mary Isaac says she awaits a deserved explanation from U.S. officials on why St. Lucia has been slapped with a Level 3 travel advisory. And hear why the Health Ministry says returning nationals are the real problem and that tourists are being more compliant. That and more coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Tuesday, the 11th of August, 2020. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News on Flow, Channel 117, Kiss FM, the Caribbean Hot FM mobile app, and the Caribbean Hot 7 TV Facebook page. I'm Lovely St. Amy Joseph. Thank you for joining us. National Security Minister and Senator Herman Gill Francis has confirmed his rumored interest in contesting the Beaufort South seat, noting that his application was in fact submitted early in 2019. Senator Francis says if selected as the UWP's candidate for the seat, currently represented by Dr. Kenny Anthony, he will stay clear of gutter politics and will instead engage in a clean fight based on policies and plans. Shaka Wooding reports.
Minister for National Security Herman Gill Francis now has his eyes set on a Beaufort South candidacy. Francis indicated that his interest had been known to the UWP political camp since early 2019. He says earlier on this year it became clear to him that an equally suitable candidate in the likes of Claude Chalmine had also indicated interest in the seat, causing Francis to reassess and step back. However, he says things have taken a turn, with his contender choosing to retract, making him the most likely candidate.
I've always been a team player, and it's not about me. It's about the party, and it's about St. Lucia. So I threw my support behind him, but I never withdrew my application. Maybe it was fortuitous that I did that, because God works in mysterious ways, they say. So a couple of weeks ago, he called me and indicated that he was no longer interested in contesting the seat. And then he figured that I was the best person to replace him. And so we had a chat, and I agreed with him. And so I then re-engineered my application.
The UWP's candidate selection process is ongoing, and Francis is among 3 individuals who have applied. He says it would be one of the highest honors to contest a constituency with which he shares so much history. The Beaufort-born minister and senator says throughout his career in law enforcement, some of his greatest achievements have been through the Beaufort Police Department.
I know it's going to be an honor for me to try and represent Beaufort. That's the place of my birth. I left Beaufort when I was about 8 years old to come to Castries with my parents. But every holidays while at school, we would spend half of the holidays in Beaufort and half in Labrie. So I've never really left Beaufort. I was the officer in charge of the division in 1998. I spent a year there when Beaufort was very difficult crime-wise, and I was able to, with the assistance of the people and the police, were able to make Beaufort an area where persons were free to come to.
Francis says he is particularly eager for a chance to face off with incumbent Beaufort South MP, former Prime Minister Kenny Anthony. He says Anthony, who has held this seat for 20 years, is a formidable political opponent, and he vows to keep the contest clean.
Going into this battle is not going to be an easy one. You have a formidable opponent in the Honorable Kenny Anthony, former Prime Minister of St. Lucia. So I'm not taking anything lightly, but I think it's an honor for me to be able to contest against a former Prime Minister. So it's going to be good for me. I've made up my mind that there is not going to be any dirty politics. I refuse to say anything bad about Dr. Anthony. I don't think it's in the interest of St. Lucia to do that. And I do hope that the elections down there and the campaign down there will be a very cordial one, and let the people decide, because at the end of the day, whoever wins the election in Beaufort it is the will of the people.
Francis says if given the opportunity, he will make every effort to make the people of Beaufort South proud. For now, he awaits the results of the candidate selection process. Jacques Wooding, Hot 7 News.
Health Minister Mary Isaacs says she believes the United States owes St. Lucia and the rest of the region an explanation as to why they have been slapped with a Level 3 travel advisory by the CDC. While St. Lucia's borders have been open to U.S. tourists since the 4th of June, the travel advisory now urges U.S. citizens to reconsider visiting St. Lucia and other parts of the region. Isaacs says St. Lucian officials did not see this coming. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
On Friday, August 7th, the U.S. government blindsided Barbados and other countries in the Eastern Caribbean, including St. Lucia, after a Level 3 travel advisory was placed upon the group of nations, asking American citizens to reconsider the destinations. The reason behind the advisory placed on St. Lucia, as stated on the U.S. government's website, was because St. Lucia had lifted a stay-at-home order and resumed some transportation options and business operations. On Tuesday, Health Minister Mary Isaacs said upon learning about this, she was shocked and confused, as she believes that there was no need for the advisory. What's worse is that according to Isaac, no warning was given. She said an explanation is owed to the region and that the advisory should be revised.
What I believe this is that they have grouped St. Lucia with all those other islands that they believe are high risk to them. And this is really the most that I can say about this whole thing that is developing. You know, I do not think that we ought to have been in that group, among that group, but we are. And I believe it is just a case where they look at Bahamas, all other countries that are at high risk, together with the rest of us as one Caribbean. Understand? And that is where, you know, I believe this is coming from. I don't think it has anything to do with St. Lucia in particular or St. Lucia per se. I believe it is a Caribbean thing that has happened. And I think the Caribbean countries should, demand an explanation and have that advisory against every country, even those that are not high risk like St. Lucia, be retracted.
Isaac questioned the validity of the move. She said it stands to have a negative impact on the region's tourism industry.
That advisory, what it has done in a way, is sort of to, alert U.S. visitors to the fact that their country seems to be concerned about them visiting many different countries in the world, though it's coming from a country that is really at the highest risk. Yep. And St. Lucia, of course, we know that we do not have any risk of persons contracting COVID right now because we have it contained, and we are doing everything in our power to continue to contain the virus. So we really do not know if that is justified. We don't know.
The U.S. government currently has 4 travel advisory levels. Level 1, exercise normal precautions. Level 2, exercise increased caution. Level 3, reconsider travel. And Level 4, do not travel. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Raise Your Voice St. Lucia President Catherine Seelys is hoping for a positive outcome from the recent case involving a Wapatat man who allegedly attempted to abduct and rape a minor. Seelys says the St. Lucian government should use this incident as a lesson to propel them towards implementing legislation that will see perpetrators of this age-old crime brought to justice, and for victims to receive therapy and rehabilitation that they desperately need to recover from such ordeals. Rochelle Gonzalez has more.
As the saying goes, there is a silver lining to every dark cloud, indicating that something positive can be found in every negative situation. It is on this premise that Raise Your Voice President Catherine Seelys said she hopes the government of St. Lucia will learn a lesson from the recent near miss of a heinous crime. Seelys was referring to an incident which occurred in Wapatat, Mondador on Friday, August 7th, where an alleged attempt by a man in the area to abduct and rape a 5-year-old child was foiled by quick-thinking and vigilant residents in the community. The man was subsequently tied, beaten, and then handed to police. The Raise Your Voice president said this incident shed some much-needed light on the age-old crime of pedophilia, which has plagued the nation for far too long. She said hopefully now this will trigger a reaction from the powers that be.
Raping children, both boys and girls, sexually abusing children, sexual assault of children in St. Lucia is a national pastime. And this one is visible because of what happened, so everybody knows about it, everybody is fair enough about it, but sexual abuse of children is a persistent problem in communities. The number of cases since children have been home because of corona, the number of cases that has been referred from the Ministry of Education to the Department of Human Services, the number of cases of sexual assault and abuse and rape of children at the DPP office. This is a perpetual problem. And while this had brought attention to the problem, what I would wish to see is that the government of St. Lucia take its cue and start to do public education and awareness and put systems and processes and procedures in place so the perpetrators can be brought to justice and the victims can be given rehabilitative remedies.
Seeley said the system's lack of sensitization on the matter has bred generations of wayward individuals with unresolved issues.
The system is not designed for justice, neither to provide good support services for victims. So what we have generally are a group of children growing up with this kind of trauma, and then you see children being hauled to the boys training center, children being hauled to Bodily, children being hauled to court for petty crimes, children being in gangs, children displaying antisocial behavior. No one cares how they got there. Well, this is how they get there. Spider Montut need to do his job. The Department of Human Services, the family court, the probation, the boys training center, the New Beginning Children Home, the Cicero Children Home, and all the places, all the foster carers and what have you, who have children and the children exhibiting thing. Ask them to do a proper debriefing and provide proper mental health. This situation is untenable.
In the Wapatat incident, residents expressed fears that the man would have killed the minor after violating her, as he allegedly had a knife in his possession. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The director of the St. Lucia Met Services is issuing a warning asking St. Lucians to be vigilant as the worst of the hurricane season is possibly yet to come. 9 named storms have already formed in the Atlantic in 2020, and that number could double or even triple by the end of the season. As of the 11th of August, the Met Services has warned that all conditions that initially made the season active are still very much present.
The latest weather report issued for St. Lucia states that a tropical wave will cause an increase in cloudiness, showers, and thunderstorms over the region during the forecast period. Director of the St. Lucia Met Services, Andre Joyer, says as the island approaches the peak of the hurricane season, it is imperative that people remain alert and in a constant state of readiness. The Met Services Director gave this weather update for the Atlantic hurricane season on Tuesday.
To date, we have had 9 named storms, 2 of which have become hurricanes. Those are Hannah and Isaias. So September is when we are expecting a lot more activity. So based on that, the agencies that make the predictions for the Atlantic Basin have updated their forecasts. So agencies such as the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration previously went for 13 to 19 named storms. They have now increased that to 19 to 25 named storms.
With this forecast for an extremely active hurricane season, it is more important than ever to stay informed and prepared for tropical systems.
The hurricanes, they were expecting between 6 to 10. They have increased it to 7 to 11. The Colorado State University initially started off with 16 named storms expected, and now they have gone to 24 named storms. They've also increased the number of hurricanes from 8 expected to 12. And the tropical storm risk, which is out of England, they initially went for 18 named storms. They're now going for 24. The major hurricanes that were predicted have remained the same. So the forecast is going for more systems being formed because we are in a La Nina phase, which helps the formation of tropical cyclones. The sea surface temperatures are still warm, and the wind shear at the surface is light. So then the formation of tropical cyclones will be more frequent.
Joye urged citizens to continue listening to weather reports and updates and to take all the necessary precautions given the fundamental unpredictability of weather. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Genevieve Gonzaga.
You're watching the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. Still to come, the health minister says returning nationals are the ones posing the greatest challenge to health authorities, adding that tourists are more compliant. 2 countries are removed from the travel bubble while another is in question. And the Folk Research Center observes Sessen's legacy on the anniversary of her passing. That and more coming up after the break.